AI chatbots have got significant popularity over the past few years. ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Grok, and others are some highly advanced chatbots that are very useful and can be used for different purposes. ChatGPT, which is one of the earliest chatbots, is very popular among others and is a very valuable resource when it comes to hacking. So in this video, we're going to learn how we can learn ethical hacking using this holy ChatGPT. We're also going to create some hacking tools only by using this thing and are going to see how far we can go. So let's start this. But before that, it'd be great if you'd subscribe to the channel and like this video if you're new here. Alright, so first of all, what I did was open up ChatGPT and politely ask if it could help me with my cybersecurity and ethical hacking work. And to your surprise, it said yes, it could. I guess it got my buttering, which I did using that word dear. But it's not just that. If you carefully look at my prompt, I used words like ethical hacking instead of just hacking. This tells GPT that we're not going to do any kind of malicious stuff and are only doing this for ethical purposes. If you ask it directly if it can teach you hacking, most probably it'd say that it can't help you with that request. After that response, I tried to step things up a bit by asking if it could give me some advanced XSS payloads. If you don't know about XSS, it's basically a web vulnerability, mostly found on many web apps. Well, to my pleasure, it actually started writing some XSS payloads, and trust me, these payloads are actually very advanced. It would take you a very long time to find them manually, but it did the same thing in just a few minutes, so it's basically saving our time. I didn't stop there. Stepping things up even further, I thought, why not ask it to write an automated Python script for testing these payloads automatically? So I did. I asked it if it could write me an automated script for testing these payloads, and it quickly started writing one like a good boy. Let's quickly copy this script into our Linux system and check if it's working or not. By the way, this OS is Exodia OS. I've recently made a video on this too, so I quickly copied the script into a Python file and tested it on a test website, and you can see it's working super well. It found the XSS, which was obvious because the site was already vulnerable to XSS. And just so you know, this site is completely legal for testing. And I'm not doing anything illegal. So YouTube, please don't throw me a community guideline strike. Anyways, so our script is working, right? But copying scripts like this and running them blindly makes us nothing but a script kiddie. So what we can do instead of running the script blindly is ask GPT if it can explain the script to me. And why wouldn't it? It quickly broke down the script into parts and explained each part to us. Like you can see the first part where it tells us about the module it used in the script. It also broke down the functions for us. If you still don't understand any part, you can simply copy that part, put it in the prompt again, and it'll explain it to you. So it's definitely saving our time and teaching us stuff without making us a skid. But this is just the start. We're going to do much more advanced things in a while, so stay tuned. And if you want to get into cybersecurity and don't know where to start, you can check out my guide through the first link in the description. It'll surely help you out if you're completely new to the field. Now, if we've tested XSS, why not SQLE? By the way, it's also called SQL injection. It's another web vulnerability that hackers use to leak the databases of websites. It works almost the same way as XSS because it exploits the input elements of a web app. So, I asked GPT to give me some super advanced SQLE payloads and make me an automated script for testing. See that educational purposes I used at the end of the prompt. Anyways, it quickly got what I wanted and started giving me some payloads. When I saw the first payload, I thought it sucked because it was just a very general one. But when I scrolled a bit further and saw the rest, it quickly changed my mind. It had given me payloads for different types of SQL injections. And in part 2, it had written us a script that can test SQL payloads on a URL. Again, it's the same legal website for testing. Anyone can use it for testing. We aren't doing anything illegal or bad. I copied the script, put it into a Python file, and tested it on the URL from that same site. And to my surprise, it was working again. I copied the URL and checked it via my browser, and the site was actually throwing an error. You may wonder, it could even leak the database of the whole site. But we're not going to do that in this video. You already know what YouTube would do to me if I did. You can also ask it to break down the script again for you, but I'm not going to do that this time. Anyways, hacking isn't all about web stuff, right? So I thought, why not ask it to write us some obfuscated Python reverse shell payloads and a reverse shell listener? So I asked this sucker if it could write me some Python reverse shell payloads and a reverse shell listener just for my local host. By adding localhost, I'm telling it that I'm doing all this inside my own local network and not harming any individual. And I was actually extremely surprised here, because it said it could help me with that. So let's read the response and see what it's got for us. First, it gave us a basic Python reverse shell. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. I'll explain it when we test it. For now, just look. The other one is an obfuscated version, and it even mentioned that it would offer minimal detection. And if you scroll a bit more, you'll see the code for the reverse shell listener too. Let's copy all of these and test them in my Linux environment, and I'll also tell you what it all means. So, I quickly copied the code into two different files. In one file, I pasted the listener code. In the other one, the reverse shell code. Alright, I opened two terminals side by side. On the left, I'm going to start the listener, and on the right, I'll execute the payload. Okay, so what's going to happen is, the reverse shell will try to connect to our listener and provide us with shell access. It's a cool topic, and I've already made a video on this. You can check it out through the link in the description or the I button above. Okay, so my listener is running on the left side. Now carefully watch what happens when I execute the reverse shell on the right. You see, we quickly got access to the system. In this case, it's the same computer, but this can also be done between different computers on the same network. I don't recommend doing that unless it's strictly for testing purposes only. So now we know that GPT can help us with reverse shell stuff too, right? Reverse shells are cool, but what if I tell you something even cooler and more advanced? Something that's actually used by real hackers in real-world attacks. Yeah, C2 servers, or command and control servers. These are servers that can accept multiple connections and give us access to multiple targets. We can execute commands on all of them at the same time and do whatever we want. So I thought, let's ask it to write us a simple C2 server and client in Python. Something that allows multiple connections, where we can easily background a session, connect to another one, and run commands on each client or target that's connected. I pasted that prompt in, honestly expecting it to say it couldn't help me with that, but I don't know why it said absolutely. I mean, that's actually very surprising, right? It quickly started working and wrote two separate pieces of code. One was the reverse shell or client code, which would be running on the victim's computer. The other was the server code, which accepts connections and allows us to manage sessions. It also gave us an example of how to use it. So again, I quickly copied the code into my virtual machine and opened a few terminals. In the left terminal, you can see the code for our C2 server, and in the two terminals on the right side, you can see our reverse shells. I'm doing everything on the same machine just to show you how it works, but if you've got different computers on your local network, you can test it on them too. Okay, so I'm going to run the server on the left side, and you see it's waiting for connections. Now let's execute the client code in the right side terminals and see what happens. First, I executed the client code in one terminal, and if you notice, the left side says it got the first connection. Then I ran the code in the second terminal, and boom, it got another connection too. It even automatically assigned an ID to each session. Now, on the left side, if we type sessions, it'll list down our sessions. We've got two. Let's say we want to interact with one. We can type interact followed by the session ID, like 1, and you'll see we get a shell. Now we can execute commands here. When we're done, we can type background to go back and interact with the other session. Not only this, I asked it if it could write me some reverse shell one-liners in different languages, and it started working again. It gave me reverse shell one-liners in different programming languages like Python, Java, Bash, and many others. If these reverse shell things are going over your head, I'd recommend you watch that video of mine I mentioned before. It'll surely give you a better overview. So, you saw how I used ChatGPT to get the things I wanted. You can also use this tool to help you out with different things. I made tools with just one line of prompts, but you can explain it better and make things that work exactly according to your expectations. And if this video gets a good response, I'm going to make more videos about it, like making more hacking tools with different AI chatbots and breaking them down. So subscribe to the channel, like this video, show your support, and I'll see you again in the next video.